we're going to try something a little different. Yeah, dive day. Testing out some modifications on my cow stick. Absolutely love that gun. It is a little trickier to finesse than the hammerhead pipe gun that I was using. I found with the cow stick, the way I wrap it has to be really precise. With the shooting line, it's got to be tight for the first like wraps around the line guide, but then where it connects, I have to, or where it connects to the bungee, I've got to make an extra little loop, keep that a little bit looser than I normally would with using a mono shooting line. This one uses Dyneema. If I do all those things, it shoots great. If I don't wrap it properly, then it has a tendency to loop one round of shooting line over one of the bands and then stop the shot like at 60% of the distance. So yeah, a little bit trickier to finesse. We're gonna play with that some more, see if we can hopefully land something big.
I was diving with some newer buddies on this trip, so I decided to shoot a couple fishes for them to try. Start out with a polani on our swim out. I think that these guys are actually pretty delicious. Grilled or filleted, and then shallow or deep fried is my favorite way to eat them. This drop was still fairly shallow, maybe only like 8 feet. I went down, found a nice little spot, and then immediately saw this kola. The scientific name is Nasounicornis. They are the blue spine unicorn fish. The spines are something I am super wary of because I've been stabbed and cut multiple times. One of the tricks I use when handling them is to actually lift the spear shaft up and out of the water so that they're not actively flailing when you're trying to grab them and you don't get shanked. This drop was maybe a couple hours into the dive, maybe an hour in. We still weren't out at our preferred grounds yet, and I was feeling pretty terrible. We did have nice conditions, so I was adamant that I would get a good dive day in, but my sinuses were pretty clogged. You can hear them start to make a lot of noises. I was just hanging out at the bottom, seeing what would come in, and this Ninue swam right up. Another fish that often gets a weird reputation. Most people either love them or hate them. I found that if I clean them properly, they taste great. They're really good for burgers and dumplings. They have a really nice chewy, bouncy texture to the meat. After I shot this one, because I wasn't feeling good, because I didn't have a good breath hold, I just let go of my gun. This is my custom 110 cow stick. It floats anytime I'm not feeling great, or if I need to reset on my dive. I'll just go ahead and let go of the gun, take a moment, breathe up again, and then make sure that I'm handling things properly. For fish like this, I don't want to overdo it. I was able to unwrap it from the reef. It took me a little bit to get it out of this hole. The shot had actually gone all the way through it, so the shaft went all the way through the gill cover, out the other side, and there it is. After about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hour swim, we finally got up to our grounds. I love this area, not super deep, but pretty fishy. I saw this nice blue speck uhu. While I was following him on this drop, I was hoping he would let me get a sneaky dive bomb on him. I could have taken multiple shots here, but if it's not like a 70% shot on especially large uhu, I don't take them anymore. It's really easy for them to tear off if it's a mid-body shot, and then I feel bad for killing them. I don't get the fish. So I'd rather not take the shot if it's not a good one. My breath hold and sinuses were absolutely going. You can start to hear them pretty loudly throughout these dives. That squeaking is my sinuses. You really shouldn't be diving like this. I saw this moo. Again, I was adamant I would get some good fish. I was able to get a drop on him. Weird half dive bomb, and I did land the shot. I wasn't sure if it was a good holding shot, so I swam down immediately to secure the fish. It was a pretty solid shot. Not the biggest moo I've ever shot, maybe pound and a half. I still think it's a nice size. It's good enough for dinner for 1 or 2 people. I shoot them a lot of the time for my grandma. This was my last fishing drop of the day. I was not feeling good. Really not smart. I was forcing the dive. I had actually dropped for that moo and saw this uhu instead. I knew my shot was bad immediately. As soon as you see all of that dust in the water, that means you hit the guts. So I let go of my gun so she couldn't get tension on it. Swam down right away to try and secure her and keep her from ripping off and losing the fish. I did have to wrestle her out of the hole quite a bit. Was really trying to make sure that I could get a handle on her, but my breath was going. So once I had her, you do see not the greatest technique ever when rising. If you're not feeling good like this, you shouldn't be fishing. It's my recommendation. Using my gun floating, I did end up using my hands to swim up. I was able to secure her, but as you can hear by my breathing, I did need to fully reset, and that's when I decided, okay, even with my dive buddies nearby in the water, I need to be done, and we did decide to head in after I got this fish. On our way back in, this little male white tip did come by. He is sneaky. I've dealt with him before. He's stolen fish off my float. I can tell it's a male because behind the second set of fins on the underside, you can see those long tube-like projections. Those are the pelvic claspers. Because I know he's a little bit feisty, I decided to keep an eye on him, make sure that he didn't sneak up on me. He seemed pretty calm today, didn't react aggressively in any kind of way. Kind of swam down to check him out a little bit, see what he was doing. And the whole time that I was coming back in, he did follow me for maybe 5-10 minutes. Kept trying to sneak up, look at the fish on my belt, and every time I just turned, let him know I was looking at him. This is a nice interaction with a shark for me. I got to see him, check him out, understand the animal a little bit better, and there was no one hurt on either side.
Post-dive recap. Looking pretty challenged, like 6-hour dive, but did pretty well.